Welcome to Chapter 13, Technology. Our course is now starting. I'm your host, of course, Andrew's Method, drinking on the Proud American Trucking Entrepreneur mug this morning. I'm drinking some homemade yerba mate. It's about 7 o'clock here in my local time this morning, getting these video modules up so we can all get through this together. Right here, we're on technology. I think this is going to be a pretty quick chapter, but one that is important. So here's this old scraggly picture I took a while ago, and it made it into the book somehow. Technology, I guess because I'm looking at the phone. But yeah, it's like a park up here in Louisiana. Chapter 13, Technology. All right, you ready? Let's talk about technology. Technology has improved a lot, even in the 10 years that I've been trucking in this business. From load boards to weather apps, we have quite a bit. I will share with you the apps and technology that I use on a daily basis, and the apps that I'm that I'm about to share are in no particular order. So just keep that in mind. It's not like, the must-have list from top to bottom. It's important to utilize the technology we have in front of us in order to run the most efficient business possible. Yep. So I think it's always important to be a member of, especially in the beginning, this truckersreport.com. And here's the link again. I have it throughout the program and in the course, and right here, just click on it in the ebook. But it's the Truckerz Report. That's what it's called, the Trucking Forum. Truckerz Report, Trucking Forum. This is pretty much the number one forum for all truck drivers. And there are many successful owner-operators and fleet owners who do frequent and pop up on this forum and ask questions and post from time to time. There are sections for mechanics, owner-operators, and much more. This website has been a valuable resource for me over the years. Many times we don't have that super trucker uncle that's just hanging around the family or in our contact list that we can just call and ask up and say, hey, what do you think about how to change this part, how to change the oil pump myself. What do you think? Is it a tough job? Or sometimes we don't have those people that we can just call up in our contact list. So this Truckerz Report makes a nice instant access community, so to speak. And I think, by the way I'll be able to set all this up once I get it on the Kajabi is that we might even be able to have a private chat room for everybody that's already come through the H2ST program. So that'll be really cool. And if that's the option, I'll make sure that it happens. I would like to make sure that it happens. So that way that everybody that's come through this program, we can get into the Kajabi app and have like a big community chat board where we could just post up questions like that. Like, hey, has anybody ever changed the oil pump on, this Detroit motor? That way we can go back and forth, help each other, put some responses up, and maybe even connect, and maybe even make friendships and partnerships through there that go off the platform into exchanging numbers. That's fine. That'd be up to the you and the individual or the individuals involved. Excuse me. So the Truckerz Report helps to fill that void by connecting truck drivers of all backgrounds together. If you have a mechanical question, ask it there. If you have a question about a company that you're looking to lease onto, you can ask it there. Let me give you one tip of advice as well, which is the people on this website may not be as friendly as me. So when you ask your questions, just make sure that you do some research first. There's a search bar on the top right, I think, or there's a search bar somewhere where you can search in the topics and just type in keywords like N14 oil pump, and it'll start pulling up every post that has those two words in it somewhere in the contents or in the title, so that way you can pull up previous conversations related to that topic that you typed in, because there's a great chance it's already been answered before. It's kind of a trucker thing that nobody wants to give away all their hard-earned information too quickly or too easily. You know how it goes, or you will soon to see. But you'll understand too one day that it is hard for us to get to where we are, and you may feel compelled to not want to give away your information so easily either. And that's the thing too. You'll see that, like, a response will be like, hey, you know, go to the search bar and type it in. And so, you know, it seems like, you know, it's like a level of like go do it yourself going on at this place. So with that in mind, just be respectful of other people's time and make sure that you ask your question in a respectful way. That is, if you actually want a nice answer in return. So it's just like wording your question right, and not just like, hey, who knows how to do this, and just like DIS with a question mark and just leave it there. It's like nobody's going to answer that. So it's just like, hey, I was working on you know, fixing this. I've already troubleshooted this. Does anybody can anybody point me in the direction of maybe what I could check or do next? And it's just like, it's hard to say no to that question. You know, somebody who's got decency to themselves, they're going to be like, okay, this person's, you know, really trying. Let me answer their question, if I, or add to their morale at least. A lot of these guys on here are willing to help, but they will not spoon feed and make it too easy. So just ask your questions, you know, in that respectful manner and in a knowledgeable and respectful way, and you should get a decent reply. I have got a ton of help on here over the years. And I think my account's still active. And if it is, it's Andrews _method. Excuse me. So yeah, next up would definitely be rawz.com, RAWZE.com. And here's a link to get, well, I guess it's not a link, but it's rawz.com. No, this is a link. This is a link if you're on the ebook format. And this is a great place to be a member, especially if you have a Cummins ISX motor. The guys on rawz.com are way more experienced for the most part when it comes to technical mechanics. So this is the place to come ask like technical mechanical questions, tough motor questions, rebuild your motor questions, stuff that requires really, you know, that level of skill set and experience. Like more so that's happening on rawz.com than on Truckerz Report. Truckerz Report is like a lot of new owner operators, a lot of company drivers, a lot of, you know, even experienced owner operators, but like these guys on rawz.com, they really get down, you know, down and dirty, nitty and gritty, and do this stuff themselves. And you know, some of the guys on here are even computer engineers, and they really know what they're doing, getting into the ECM and etc. These guys can fix anything. These are the type of guys you want to have on your team, okay? So go in there, when I mean go in there, go into the website and just watch the post and just read some from time to time, a couple times a week, and just get a feel for what's going on, and just show some respect. Yeah, you have to request an invitation to be a member. So when you just go in there and just invite, and I think I'll ask you like, why do you want to be a member, and just say hey, I'm an owner operator and I just come here, I want to come here to want to learn. And once welcomed on, remember Rawz owns this, you know, he owns the whole website and has his own server and all that. So he will kick somebody off his site quick if you know, this person's being rude, disrespectful, or like, you know, self-entitled to like, oh, I can do whatever I want. And it's like, nope, click off the server. So just keep that in mind. If you have a mechanical issue, search around on his site to see if there's an answer already. If not, then present your question in a clear way. Oh man, this morning, excuse me. Excuse me. Whew. Show that you already took the initiative, here's that word again, to fix it. Show pictures and be thankful for the people who do take the time out to respond. You're dealing with a lot of experts on this website, so you know, the warning here is just to tread lightly, so to speak, and don't make a negative reputation for yourself, so that way when you go in and you can post your questions and be more likely to get a response and get a more involved answer, because people know, because you're building a reputation of like just being a well-off person who's getting through this like the rest of us. They understand if you're a new owner-operator learning the business, but they don't always take kindly to people who post a lot, you know, crying wolf. Like, oh, I got this new little sound and it's ticking over here and I don't know what to do. And it's like always posting up. It's like, come on. For every little problem they got. My username on here is Kid Rock. So whenever you see somebody posting by Kid Rock, that's me. This is a great place to be an owner-operator. Rawz.com. On your free time, you develop a habit of checking places like Ross.com and Truckerz report. I did that a lot in the beginning, especially because didn't have mentors right away. And even when I had mentors, it took me a while to get to the mentors that were really on the level of what I wanted to do, so to speak, as far as like a maintenance mentor, this mentor, etc. So these places helped me a lot by having power and proximity, just by being around these people. The more we are around successful people, the more it gets into us. So keep that in mind. And like I say right here, treat it like the news. Watch what other people are talking about and what they got going on, especially when it comes to like mechanical and maintenance. This is another form of research and preventative maintenance. The more you learn about potential issues and how other people resolve them, the more prepared you will be to handle issues of your own. So, we got truckstop.com. And here's a link to truckstop.com. This is my go-to load board. I will talk about them further in my how I book my freight chapter, but I really love truckstop.com. I first met them at the truck show in Dallas, Texas back in 2016. I was really impressed with their booth and presentation. They are by far the best in my opinion, especially when it comes to flatbed and step deck freight. I have a subscription to DAT as well, but actually at the time of this recording, I let that subscription go. I don't even use DAT anymore. But that's just me, okay? And I find that there are way more loads posted with posted rates on truckstop.com. Yeah, there's a lot more loads with posted rates on truckstop.com, I find, in my experience over the years. I like this a lot because it speeds up my booking process and it gives me a better idea of what a broker is working with as far as money on the load. I either agree to the posted rate or use their base rate as a negotiations and ask for a couple $100 more. And as far as their interface, the user interface, I like it a lot better than DAT. Even on my phone, I use their website version on Safari instead of the app version. But at the time, since the time of this writing, truckstop.com has updated their whole platform, and the app does work really well. It's condensed into, especially like I'm doing it on the Galaxy Note 2 now. So I got the big phone with the stylus, and it works really well with the stylus. I like it. I pay $150 a month for the Pro version. If you're not using direct customers, you need the Pro version. This is my opinion. How else will you compete with somebody like me who always has the newest iPhone, or the newest, in this case now, since the time of this writing, I went over to Android. I like the Galaxy phone a lot more, actually. Still use iPad and MacBook. So, competing with somebody like me who always is having the newest phones and the fastest connection, running live load board updates. And when we get into the load board and how I book my freight chapters, then you're not only competing against me, but you're competing against the dispatchers that have fiber optics, like that are in the big, in the cities that have fiber optic, and they have like super fast live load boards. So this $150 version allows us to get the loads live, and we need to be at least on that level to compete with everybody else. Next, we have DAT, and here's the link. Of course, the links are the ones right here in blue. DAT is basically the most popular, well-known public load board. I like to use DAT for certain things at the time of this recording. At the time of this writing, but mainly I use DAT just when I'm in a pinch. I don't really like their app, and their desktop page doesn't work very well on mobile. At the time of this writing, and there's always room for improvement. And I have spoke to the development team and the head of the development team, and he wants to make improvements with DAT. He emailed me and we talked. He called me. We had about a 30-minute conversation, wanting to know what I thought about how to improve DAT, because he was watching my truckstop.com videos on YouTube. And I do have truckstop.com videos too. So when you go to my Andrews_method YouTube, I have like close to 20 episodes, I believe, where when I was home getting all this started, writing my book for the first time, I started to be more active on YouTube, and I decided to do a show called Truckstop.com. So definitely go check that out. As like I said, it's about 20 episodes of me using the load board live, all the way to the point where Truckstop.com did their more recent update. That's at the time of this recording. So definitely check that out. But we'll be getting more into it in these modules as well, into the load boards, in which how do I book my freight chapter. I have noticed it seems that DAT will have more posted loads than Truckstop.com, especially in the dead areas like West Texas, Colorado, Montana, and etc. Like DAT will pull up more loads. They're usually like, general commodity, 48,000 pounds, garbage paying loads, but there's more loads. And I will say DAT may be better for vans and reefer freight. Many guys who pull the van and reefer trailers tend to speak highly of DAT over Truckstop. So it's definitely worth owning both. I only do Truckstop.com now. DAT is also more of a wild west, so to speak, with no posted rates. Come and negotiate your deal type of place. It's just like a lot of the freight on DAT, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, no posted rate or no information. It's just like I don't really prefer that when I'm spending, my time dispatching. That I don't really prefer to like just call all these different people for like. When I could just be on Truckstop.com, and a lot of it has posted rates, so there's enough of it with posted rates that I can just make a decision quickly. The broker's happy with what he's paying or she's paying. I'm happy with what I'm getting. It's a done deal. Nobody's trying to sell the load out from underneath me. We just keep it moving. We'll talk about it. I have no problem and actually enjoy to make make great deals, but there are many days that I would just rather skip the tango of many phone calls and just book on site with a posted rate that I agree to. But, of course, to each his own. And as I said just a moment ago, we'll discuss this way further in the How I Book My Freight chapter. I do use DAT to find LTL loads, like partials, and that has worked out over the years. Sometimes there will be a posting on DAT that's not on Truckstop.com. It only takes one good load per year that wasn't on your main load board, and your subscription has paid for itself. So that's one thing to think about too. If you want to have like a full subscription to Truckstop for $150, then have a partial subscription for but actually DAT went up to like $80 even for their partial subscription. That's when I got out. They doubled their rate. It was like from 40 to 80. I was like, look, I barely use it. That's my sign. I'm out. But even then, so 80, it's 100 times 12. So it's still less than $1,200 a year, about $1,000 a year. So you see what I'm saying? Even one decent load that you get off that load board that's not on another load board paid for a subscription technically, but it'll be up to you. But I definitely recommend in the beginning to experiment with both and see which one fits your style better. All right, so we're still on technology. We got broker-specific loads. Load boards, so if you have your own authority, you'll notice that a lot of brokerages have their own load boards. They're decent, usually nothing to really bring home about. Many of them aren't worth the time, but there are a few that I will keep on my iPhone's homepage. At the time of this writing, iPhone, usually the freight that gets posted on these boards are like the super heavy and cheap general commodity freight like lumber, rebar, and etc. But every now and then you might find a decent load in a pinch, especially in a dead area. The ones I really use at this point is the ATS load board, which is brokeredloads.com. And here's the link, brokeredloads.com. And that's ATS Shoreway. That's their in-house board. Then you got the JB Hunt Carrier 360 app. That's a whole app of its own, and it's pretty decent actually. That's one of the best. It probably, if not the best, broker system. Brokerage load board system, because you can book loads on there, negotiate on there, get your instructions, check in, and do all that stuff. This link is just an info link, but if you search JB Hunt Carrier 360 on your app store, you will see the app. JB Hunt requires 6 months active authority, or at least that was at the time of this writing, give or take, to do business with them. I've also heard. I also have the Uber Freight and Convoy app, which I don't use much since they're not too much into flatbed yet. Even though Uber does do flatbed loads, but it's just not a ton yet. Still, not like how they do on the van side.
But I have heard a lot of success stories on the van and reefer when it comes to Convoy and Uber. So definitely check out definitely the Uber over Convoy, but Uber and Convoy if you're hauling a van trailer or a reefer. Next up, this is definitely foundational technology to have, which is Google Maps. This is a given, of course, but I must put it on my list. Google Maps to me is the superior map app, in my opinion, and the superior map period, in my opinion. I use Google Maps very often to double check my GPS, to study delivery location the night before delivery. If I'm working on a deal and the delivery is in New York City or some other like tricky major city to deliver to, like inside Philly or Philadelphia or something, I ask the broker for the delivery address and I plug it into Google Maps to see how far off the interstate it is. I use the data I collect, by viewing the map in Google Maps to decide if I want to do the load or not, or how much I'll charge if I decide to do the load. So yeah, Google Maps is nice. The night before going to do a delivery, I'll probably type it in Google Maps and look at it real quick just to see what I'm getting into. Even when I leave that morning, I'll type in to Google Maps, to my destination on Google Maps. So I'll watch my GPS, and when I start getting closer to going to where I need to go, I'll pull my phone back out and double check my Google Maps to make sure it's going the same way as, or that my GPS is going the same way as the Google Maps, and etc. And just cross-reference them, because using Google Maps allows us to gives us a bird's eye view. And I suggest using it from the aerial view, north up, south, east, west, instead of using the 3D version. When we get too caught up in the 3D version, we're not really learning directional skills and orientation. We're just kind of like looking at it from everywhere it looks the same. But when we look at it from the top down, we can always see, when we look at the map, north is up, south is south, east is east, west is west. So when we get up there, hang a right. When we get up there, hang a left. It gives us the bird's eye view of how everything works. But that's up to you if you want to look at it that way. I've never really been the type to just put my GPS on 3D and just leave it there. I usually, especially like on Google Maps, I very rarely press like start and have it tell me where to go. I'll look at the bird's eye view and zoom in and zoom out when I need to and figure it out myself with my navigational skills, right? I've been reading maps since a kid, and it's definitely, we're truck drivers. We need to know how to read maps. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. But we don't have to. You always use 3D. No big deal. But that's what I do. I get the aerial view, the bird's eye view, and the more you do that, the more all this stuff just makes sense. It's like the whole country is like one big city. Next, I prefer Gmail for all things email related. Excuse me. Google just kind of has this market cornered when it comes to email. Their Gmail app is the most responsive and quickest of email apps that I've used over the years. So you'll need to get a good email app, especially if you're under your own authority. And please don't get a difficult email. Like when you're going back and forth with your brokers, or when you get to the point of having your own authority, or you're booking loads and stuff like that, or even at a Landstar, you're still booking loads. You want to have an email that's easy to remember and easy to say. You don't want to be like, send it over to, Jeremy spins 223682 at Hotmail, and it's like, no, it's just too much. Like, just probably the name of your company at Gmail, something like that. Next, we got the Keep Truckin' Fleet Management Software ELD Dash Cams GPS app. Here's the link. We all know Keep Truckin', and if you don't, you'll know soon. It took over the independent owner operator faction by storm. They came in and they took over, and at first I wasn't going to use them, but eventually I got onto the Keep Trucking movement. I was resistant at first. I was on VDO road logs. I did like them because it was a standalone unit that plugged in directly to the diagnostics, not with Wi-Fi and stuff. But VDO, they decided to close down their operation, and they decided to close out of business. So that only left OmniTrax for Qualcomm, Keep Trucking and a couple of other not so appealing brands, I had experience with Qualcomm, Omnitrax, and Landstar, and I wasn't too impressed. The hardware would just freeze pretty often, and the system was just too bulky in my opinion. It looked good on the outside, but the technology on the inside was just no good, really. It would just freeze up and do weird things and all that. Maybe I just had an older model and they make them much better now. I don't know. So I decided to go with Keep Trucking. And plus, all the VDO guys that when we got boxed out of VDO, they gave us like a discount to go ahead and go into keeptrucking.com. And I've been impressed. They have a great user interface. They remind you to log inspections. They let you see your full 14-hour clock and drive time while you're driving. Checking your recap hours is easy to see. It remembers your on-duty notations like on-duty fueling. So as soon as you press F, it'll automatically say fueling. Do you want to put fueling? Yes, I do. You can log yourself off duty if you go into a restaurant for lunch and you forget to log off duty. So that's pretty cool. If you're like doing the app on your phone and you like park to go inside to get a bite somewhere and you're like, oh geez, I forgot to go off duty. You can just go on your phone and just log it off duty. But I run mine on my iPad now because I was having Bluetooth issues on my phone because I had too many Bluetooth devices hooked up to my phone. And Keep Trucking wants to be the first Bluetooth device connected. So we made a workaround and just decided to use my iPad as the device. My iPad Pro as the main device since it doesn't always have Bluetooth stuff connected. Overall, I'm very impressed with the system and I'm very surprised that I actually endorse a cell phone based ELD. They also have it set up very easy to interface with state police if they request to access your logs. It's just like one little inspection section. You just agree to send it off and they give you a code and that's that. They also have an online portal that makes it very easy to run IFTA reports as far as like all the miles traveled in each state, which comes in handy to file your IFTA, right? Keep Trucking. I don't have anything negative to say about them. And their customer service comes through, and 9 times out of 10 customer service is very helpful. Next, we got like the Weather Channel app, but I'm kind of over the Weather Channel. Really, I look at different, like the stuff in my Android phone now, the little weather app, which is still kind of based off Weather Channel, but Weather Channel, in my opinion, you can get Weather Channel, of course, but I would just use it for the radar and stuff and just look at the radar. I don't know. It's just Weather Channel to me, they do too much fear mongering. They want us to get caught up in like the next biggest storm or this next severe storm. Look at the red zone. Everybody's going to get their house blown down and da-da-da-da-da-da. Then the next day comes and whether the storm is not as serious as they said it was, nobody apologizes, nobody cares. It's just on to the next fear mongering. So do use Weather Channel if you want to get caught up in... Nah, let me stop. But let me read what I wrote at the time of this writing, which is the Weather Channel app has got it's got really advertised on lately, and it's probably just better to buy an annual subscription. Yeah, but the Weather Channel app is still a classic for looking at the Doppler radar and wind direction. As owner operators and truck drivers in general, it's really important that we keep up with the weather in certain times of the year like winter. But there's other apps. It doesn't have to be Weather Channel app. I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of over the Weather Channel. They do too much fear mongering. If you book your own freight, you should be using this app or a similar one to determine if certain loads are worth taking in the winter, for sure. You don't want to just take this load going to Washington or Oregon because it looks good on the rate, and it's probably, and it may not, even on the gross, and then we get up there and it's just the weather's horrible and it's just not worth it. If the blizzard is coming through, you have the choice to go in another direction. It might be wise to just avoid the whole storm altogether and to not book that load. One thing I like about the Weather Channel app is telling wind direction. So sometimes I'm going up the road and I feel like I'm mashing the accelerator pedal down further than normal. I feel as if there's some extra like resistance or friction going on. And sure enough, almost every time I get that gut feeling, I'm driving straight into some wind. Right, so say for instance, if I'm driving east on I-20 and the app says the winds are west at 10 miles an hour, that means the winds are blowing from the east to the west at 10, which means that I have an additional 10 miles an hour worth of force going right at me. So this explains why it feels like I'm not going up or I'm having to press the pedal down further to go. So it just helps justify in my mind that I'm like, okay, I'm just up against the wind. Next, NASTC, NASTC, the NASTC app. We'll talk about this more in the fuel card provider, but this is more of an own authority thing. I have the NASTC app on my phone because that's who I'm partnered with as my fuel card provider. Their app shows all the NASTC fuel stop locations and what their current price is after our member discount. It has some other nice features like a route planner and direct phone numbers to all the NASTC services. This one here's the link, Find Truck Service. This is a big one. Find Truck Service is another great app to have on your phone. They have a huge directory of repair shops, mobile repair shops, part stores, and more. These are my go-to guys when it comes to looking for independent shops on the road. Google Maps just doesn't give me the results that Find Truck Service can. And I also met these guys at the Dallas truck show when they were kind of just getting started. It seemed like, they already had everything built, but they were just, they were really getting going as far as building awareness. So do yourself a favor and keep this app downloaded in your phone just in case. And here's the link to it. But it's called Find Truck Service. And it's nice. They'll pull up all sorts of independent shops, and so you can really get to calling around and doing, like we said, in the parts and shops section when we were talking about getting the vibe of certain places and feeling them out on the phone before you decide to go. Next, we got QuickBooks. QuickBooks is another app I keep on all my devices. I will talk about this later in how I build my customers, but this is more of like an own authority thing. Because this is what we'll be using to build our customers. And another cool thing about QuickBooks too is at home, when you're in your personal vehicles, going out to get parts or doing business related stuff, it will track your mileage for, it's an option. You can allow it to track your movement for mileage, and that'll be calculated for tax deduction. I really like their interface, their accounts receivable, and their professional look that it gives my invoices. When I bill my customers, it's a nice professional look, and that's all in QuickBooks. Their fee is $10 a month, and I think they got a couple other ones that might be more, but I think they still do offer an entry level one, but they try to sell like the $20 one first. But just keep looking. I think there is a more down towards $10 version. I still pay right around $10, I believe. So, which in my opinion is a great deal. So next is to have the MacroPoint app. Now this is, you probably even need this leased on, but you might as well download the MacroPoint app if you haven't already. There will be brokerages along the way that prefer to track their loads with MacroPoint, the program MacroPoint. It is just an app that takes your location data and it gives it to the brokerage so that they can have a live update of your progress, so that they can update their customers and etc. Next, we got Google Street View. I don't use this app often, but I will use it to get a 3D view of a pickup or delivery in a busy city. Let's say I have a pickup in Baltimore tomorrow morning. I might run the address in Google Maps. Well, I'll run the address in Google Maps to see where it is. And let's just say I see that it's like, it's like right in the middle of downtown in the city. So if I'm not familiar with the area, I may use Google Street View to get a better look at what I'm getting into, like where the job site would be, where I could pull off, and different things like that. So when I get on the scene, I'll be more prepared. Next, I really like this one. This is Tiny Scanner. Now, even being leased on, excuse me. Gotta blow my nose. I don't want to do it on camera. Hold on one sec. Much better. So this Tiny Scanner app, if you have to make PDFs of any kind, this is especially true in own authority when we're making our own invoices and we're billing our customer. But I love this program too. And here's the link. But just type in Tiny Scanner on your app store and you'll see it. So this, I use this app mostly on my iPad Pro, but it works fine on mobile phone. But I love this app for making PDF files out of pictures, for bill of ladings, right? So I use this app to take pictures of my bill of ladings. I turn them into a very nice looking PDF file, and then I save them to my files on my iCloud. And then in my QuickBooks app, I can easily attach them to my invoice. I've been using this program for years, and I used the $5 version. I think it's like a one-time buy for like $5. Definitely recommend Tiny Scanner. Cool app for sure. And there's probably other ones that do it too, but this is the one I've been using without fail. Next is the YouTube app, of course. This is self-explanatory, but the YouTube app is a great place to get help on repairs and learn new tips and tricks about business. You can even subscribe to me on there. Dun 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 dun. Andrew's Method, right? Here's the link again, if you don't already know. Next, we got the Truckerz Smart mobile app. Here's the app. This is the TA Petro app for TA Petro. I don't use this app very often, but I do use it to reserve my spot at TA Petro. If I'm reserving a spot, I got something going on, I need to reserve a spot. It's the fastest and most direct way to check availability and to see if there is any spots available and to book it right there at the truck stop. I remember one day a guy and I, we pulled up to the truck stop around the same time, and it was getting late. It was at a busy location closer to a major city, and I just know that there's like 6 of us in the parking lot that are like circling around about to get a spot, and I already know at that point I'm like, oh geez, I need to book my spot now, because like I'm not going any further. I can't go any further on this load. Like, this is where I need to sleep for the night. So I pulled up the app, and I remember like I think I was like stepping outside, and I was talking to a guy, and he had backed. I don't know when that happened. We backed into the spot, or I booked mine while we were still like waiting for somebody else to maneuver, and I got in there. There was only like 2 spots, and I went and booked mine before I even went into the spot. Then I remember talking to one of the guys outside, and he was just all calm and stuff. He's like, "Yeah, I'm about to go inside and pay for my spot." And I'm like, "Bro, there might not be no more spots, man. Like, you're waiting too long, you know." And sure enough, then like he went inside, and all the spots are already booked. And so that's something you can use this app for, is to reserve spots over through the app without going inside to do it. And therefore, in a pinch like that, you can guarantee a spot. Trucker Tools, right? Trucker Tools is another digital load tracking platform like MacroPoint. You might as well have this downloaded too, in case your certain customers uses this platform to track their loads. Excuse me. And I think Trucker Tools has other functionalities, and I know they want to have low board functionality, and maybe some of the features on there might prove to be beneficial in your operation. You just have to go check them out, take a look for yourself. This one right here is called My Radar. I like this one a lot for getting free visual wind direction. So it's really cool. You can look at an overhead map. Like once you download the app, you can go into your settings within the app and select, to make it visible to see wind direction. And once you enable wind direction, you can literally see all the wind that's going around in the whole country. So this is a really nice tool when it comes to understanding the wind reality in your situation. Like I just explained, sometimes it feels like a brake is dragging, or that you're pushing the pedal down too hard when really it is just the wind. So this app helps me get to the bottom of those. Is it just the wind? Is it the wind, or is it just me feelings? So especially like, say you're on this 3 or 4 hour stretch of road and the wind is blowing one way, then all of a sudden it's a different way. Like you can see, like it's just weird and interesting watching all, like you might be going to a certain point on the map, then at that point there's another high or low pressure, and it comes and it meets right there. Now the wind's going north, and it was just going west or something. So then now you might lose your free bonus, or what was holding against you might switch. So it's a cool app to visually look at all the high and low pressures and with the wind direction and where it's going. Cool. So in summary, for years I have ran the same strategy when it comes to phones. I always get the new iPhone, but sometimes I'll skip a new release and go for the next one. But I think this is more important to do when you're booking your own freight. So if you're booking your own freight, that's one thing I've always done to stay ahead on technology, so I know I have a fast connection speed and it gives me a little bit of more of an edge. When you're booking your own freight, you need to have the fastest and best internet speed so that you will be the first to see the load when it pops up. Time is critical when it comes to great freight, especially great freight with posted rates. Having the ability to see your freight pop up 30 seconds or even 15 seconds before somebody else is a huge advantage. It gives you just that much time to get in, dial the phone, or make the conscious decision to do the load. It's a huge advantage. It gives you more time to read the load details and make a decision. It gives you more of a lead time to strike, especially if you don't need to read the load details and ask them once on the phone call. Because sometimes I'll see numbers and I'll just instantly, I'm like, okay, that's my load. I'll call. Then as I'm calling, I'm getting in on the phone call. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking at the load details while I'm getting in on the phone call. And we'll talk about that in the section dedicated to it, how I book my freight. If you're having your own authority, I really suggest having an iPad Pro with its own cell signal under your cell phone plan. I really like the one with the biggest screen. It's a tad expensive, but it is really a powerhouse when it comes to rate sheets, billing, and file management. I guess any old tablet would work. That's funny. But yeah, I guess any tablet would work. But the iPad Pro is just a more superior and flexible product in my opinion. And it has tested great with me over the years. Once you get the iPad Pro, make sure to get an Apple Pencil. Here's just some Amazon links to it, the ones that I use. This is the new one or the original. Boom. I'd say that brokerages are about 50-50 now when it comes to needing a real signature for rate sheets and for carrier packets, which we'll be learning more about in Own Authority if you haven't heard those terms before. But many brokerages have moved to a digital signature for rate sheets, which is nice too. Then you can just sign it through your phone and really don't even need to have a physical signature. But for all the other brokerages, it is super nice to have the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil to go along with it, or some type of similar setup. It's like having a digital sheet of paper right in front of you that you can sign. And there are brokerages that will send you like 20-page carrier packets that require all of them to be handwritten. So that's where the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil really shines. You can just get in there, sign it, go to the next one, get in there, sign it. Once you're done, like save it to your files or just reply all. Then attach the other documents that you already saved in your files, like your insurance, your authority letter, and etc. If you have your own authority or you're soon to get your own authority, another element to iPad Pro is through the use of Tiny Scanner, you can collect all your important information for the year, such as insurance certificate, authority, a pre-filled out W-9, occupational accident insurance or workman's comp proof, your medical certificate, a nice one-page cover sheet with all your company information, etc. You can have all these documents saved into the Apple files or onto the cloud, and you can do this probably on Google Drive and on different devices. You save it all into a cloud, and once in files, you can put them all into a group. Like inside the Files app, I have a group that has the acronym of my trucking company. Then I click into it, and then it has all this information in one little group, so I can attach it to emails really easy. So this makes filling out carrier packets so much quicker and convenient. All the papers that they are going to request, minus being a certificate holder, will pretty much be in this group you created. With this group, you can easily access them and attach them into an email, all within your iPad. I will cover this in more detail in my chapter Carrier Packs. The iPad Pro in combination with Tiny Scanner app is a great combo for creating crystal clear PDFs for billing your customers or sending into a factoring company. Yes, there are other ways to do this, but this is my preferred route, and we will discuss this more in How I Bill My Customers chapter. These are the exact setups that I have and use over the road. I love the flexibility of an iPad Pro with its own cell phone signal. Now, one thing I didn't write here too, one thing that's nice about having its own cell phone signal on the iPad, say, you go out to the bar, go out and enjoy yourself, or go somewhere while you're out and you misplace your phone and you're like, geez, how can I continue business now? When you go back to your truck, at the very least, you'll still have your iPad that has its own signal, and you can still do emails and updates and stuff like that while you work on getting your phone, so you could at least go finish your load and stuff like that. It's a worst case scenario, but it is a plan B that the iPad serves as well. And here's another thing too. What's cool about the Files app is everything that you save in files on your iPad can be pulled up in your iPhone if you're using an iPhone, and vice versa. This is a handy addition to have. So let's just say, like, you're walking around at a shopping mall or inside Walmart, and a customer calls and like, hey, requesting a certificate of some kind, or like, hey, can you resend that BOL, and woo. Now you don't have to like stop what you're doing and rush all the way back to your truck, especially if you're like me sometimes, and I'll go like miles and miles away from my truck, and I'm like, geez, yeah, it's gonna be like a couple hours before I can get it to you because I'm way over here. So you can just pull it up on the phone and email it right there through the same Files app. Whatever technology you decide to use, just make sure that it works. Make sure that it is efficient. The technology an owner-operator with his own authority needs is a little different than the technology an owner-operator leased to a company needs, but nonetheless, the set of apps I recommended are great regardless of your operation. Mine is QuickBooks and NASDAQ and other having your own authority specific apps. Just make sure that you're using technology that makes your life easier and it makes your business run more efficient and look more professional. Some guys like Microsoft Excel spreadsheets for tracking invoices. I do not. Some guys like Excel for generating invoices. I do not. Some guys will try to convince you that you don't need to spend that $10 on QuickBooks. You can just use Microsoft Excel. And that's for them. Some owner-operators despise electronics and tracking, which I understand. This is where the new owner-operator comes in and levels the playing field with his or her understanding of technology, apps, load boards, emails, marketing, maps, and etc. Many of the older owner-operators are behind when it comes to technology. They got the life experience out here, they got the capital and the cash reserve, but they're behind when it comes to technology. Some are still sending in their BOLs through the mail and don't even have to. Some are still using the fax machine for doing carrier packets. Some are having a difficult time using load boards. This is where you get to shine, young man, young woman, right? Or where, especially those of us that are like, I'm 31, so my age group, like 35, anybody who's like 35 and below, was really more so born into this technology. Yeah, so I was born in 1990, so really anybody born like 1985 and after, we're born into this technology, so this is where we get to shine. And this stuff is easy for the most part. A lot of this technology stuff is easy. In my opinion, once you get a knack for it, using a load board is easy. You just have to, match the technology. You have to match the technology with the we got to get it done attitude of the elders. The elders get it done. They're just kind of missing on the technology, and sometimes we got all the technology, but we don't have the will to get it done and stick through it. So we just put those two together, and we get to shine. To get it done takes grit that many young people don't seem to be equipped with these days. Allow yourself room to grow, keep improving, learn mechanics as you go, collect your tools, learn from the older owner ops out here. There are many life experience things that knowing technology will not help you on. Luckily, you're getting a ton of that life experience in my book and going through this program. As long as you just continue to let it get into you and not over you or around you. Don't be afraid to learn from the older guys out here. They might need to learn from you what you know about iPhones and iPads. I refuse to struggle when it comes to this department of technology. There's too many tools, apps, and ways to streamline the whole digital process of trucking. I've took different strategies from different guys along the way and made the improvements and the investments into the systems I thought would be the best. So, I gathered a lot of information about what this guy's doing, this guy's doing, this guy's doing, and put them all together and to make my own. Excuse me. It's pretty hard to beat the iPhone, iPad Pro with its own cell signal and the Apple Pencil combo. Tack in all the other apps I mentioned, and yeah, it's hard to beat. So it's a nice combination. Like I said, I've moved over to the Galaxy Note 2 Samsung phone, which I love that. So but I'm still working iPad Pro with its own cell signal and pencil. And it's just a workhorse. I mean, just gets it done. If you have your own authority and don't want to spend on an iPad Pro setup yet, that's fine. Just keep in mind as you progress, the setup will cost around $1,000 if you pay for it up front. But I'll tell you, I'm super pleased with my investment and the level of ease and convenience that it has added to my operation. Just use my setup as a template. Either copy it exactly or take bits and pieces from it and improve it to make it perfect for you. Tag me on Instagram at Andrews_method or Facebook at Andrews Method, Andrews with the apostrophe S, with pics of your setup or with improvements that you make or apps that you find along the way that you use that are not on the list. And I'd be very interested to know and to see, and it may help others. I'll repost it, or especially if we're able to do this group chat that I want to do, and I think that Kajabi allows us to do, so we could post there. Just like many things I've shown so far, technology is also very important. The way you choose your technology setup will play a big part in your ability to capitalize on loads, do paperwork, build customers, and ultimately it will play a big part in your success. Choose wisely and create an ecosystem that you like and that works great for you. Right? Especially when we talk about having our own authority, and the stigma that comes with it is the paperwork and the responsibilities. So by having like a really an ecosystem that you like and that works great for you, it takes the edge off a lot of that, and you can just knock it out. All right. See, I told you this one was not too long. In my next chapter, I want to give you a running list of brands that I use and endorse. So just some brands to keep in mind. As you progress and get more experience, you will find the brands that you like and the ones that fit best for you. So in the meantime, you will have this list that I created of established brands that meet my standard of business. So use this list as you grow and develop your own. Let's continue. I'll see you right over there in chapter 14.